welcome to Createful Art. I'm Ashley Krieger. If we haven't met yet, I am a full-time artist and an art teacher. And I teach a lot of people online how to be creative and how to make the art that they want. So to do that, I have monthly art challenges, and this month I'm teaching how to paint florals. So in this tutorial, I'm going to give you the basic steps on how to paint any type of floral that you want. I also have several tutorials, and I'll link them up here or in the description, that teach you how to paint the leaves and different types of flowers so that you can complete one in your own way. And if you need the full tutorial, it's an hour and a half. You can go ahead and become a Createful Art member for that, and then it's just as if you're sitting right alongside me and you paint every little thing with me. It's a great tutorial for learning your skills. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you don't miss out on any more lessons and tutorials. So let's get started. You're going to learn a lot in this video. So the first thing that I do when I'm going to start a painting is I get inspired. So to get inspired today, I went on Google and I put in floral arrangements, and I found a floral arrangement that I liked the composition. Now, this shirt is also my inspiration. This is one of my favorite shirts. So I recommend at this time finding some inspiration. I'm going to be using the same brush set that I was using for my floral tutorials. So I got the surface that I'm going to be painting on. I have my tools that I'm going to be working with, and I have my mediums that I'm going to be working with, and then also what I use with those. So paper towels and water. Now, another thing I like to work with when I'm using acrylics on watercolor paper is gesso. So what this does is this makes it so that the paint doesn't just soak into this paper so much that it just lies on the surface kind of like a canvas. That's why I like using this, and I don't mix any water with it. I just get it on there. This is a really cool tool to have to just kind of roll it on rather quickly. So the more layers of gesso I add to this, the more it will glide. So I can take this time to let it dry and then put another layer on if I'd like. You can also do this to canvases to get your paints to glide more on top of the canvas instead of soaking into the canvas so much. The next thing that I love to do is just organize everything. I also like to have something to snack on and a water nearby to drink. Not this one, that's why this one says this is my paint mug. If you want to get a paint mug like this, I have it on my website. That just reminds me not to drink that water. When I grab my paint out of like a tube like this, when I mix a lot of paint, I use my palette knife. This keeps my paints clean. So I'm going with a gray background that is a warm gray. So I can make different grays by creating complementary grays. So this one right here is more of a purple tone. So what I do is I grab my yellow, which is my bronze yellow, and that's kind of the complementary to it. So I'm adding that in there. That is the gray that I want. So I've just learned how to mix colors to get whatever colors I want. So this step is all about getting into the mood and preparing. And I'm going to use my palette knife to get the texture I want in there. So I'm just dragging. So my floral is going around here, but I still have to give this some paint to match the others, but I can smooth out the texture a little bit more so that won't catch on my petals and stuff and show texture. So I have this gray, and this is just a pre-mixed gray. So now I'm going to take this different color to give some dimension, make it less just blah back here. I'm going to come in and just add a little bit of that. And I'm going to let my background dry. I've got my flat brush for this. Grab some colors here. Something that's a little bit darker so I can sketch this out. And I've got a little space down here on the bottom. This is going to be my base. And really, it's not that big. So I'm just going to take this and looking at the shapes And this helps me with proportion too, is like, sometimes I like to think of the vanishing points and stuff, and I have a lesson on that. So I will check my angles, give this more of a shadow, and then there's more of a shadow right here, and then a really dark part right underneath this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that color that I have here, and I'm just going to make it darker. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to add some lighter spots as well. That would be where the light is hitting. So the light's not hitting underneath this right here because there's all these flowers and stuff. And there's some shadow areas where these lines are, to just show that. I add that in there, and then I'm going to grab more of a dark color right here to show this curve. And this is dry brush because this has a lot of texture. See how easy this is to create shape. So it's all about darks, lights, and where you put them. And I'm going to do this until I feel like it's right. Now what I need is some black on a toothbrush, so there's some splatter in here. I have to be really careful though, because I don't want splatter on anything else. Gives that look like, oh, what is that? You know where it's pottery and it shows underneath, I can't, stoneware. This is the stoneware look. Now I'm going to add in manually some of the stoneware look. So I'm grabbing my little tiny brush. So I have to make sure the value's dark enough here. There we go. And I'm going to add in some inconsistent stoneware marks. And that's what gives you more of a realistic look. When everything's too perfect, that's when it starts to look really fake and kind of like plastic. So I've learned to just be loose and add imperfections into my work, and that gets me the look that I want. The table goes right around here, comes out like this. I'm going to start with my undercolor, and I'm going to come right here, and I'm following that round. So I need to go down enough and over enough that it looks like that. And then I'm going to let some of this color, this underneath color, show through. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a brown with that same black and yellow color and a little bit of orange. And I'm just going to come in here and make this darker. Now I'll grab my black to go under this, because right under there there's no light showing, so it's got to be dark. And then I just pull in one more color because it just adds a little bit, makes it look more realistic. Any darker areas I need to add in. Alright, you'll be happy to know that it is now time for the flowers. Now this is a fun time to just be free and easygoing and just enjoy putting things where you want it to. All those lessons about like leaves and putting pressure on your brush in certain places and all that kind of stuff are gonna come out in this part. Like this isn't the important part where we were trying to learn all that stuff. So I'm gonna do some color matching here. So I got some sagey dark colors in here, and I'm gonna have some bright colors. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of just different greenery going on. So what I'm gonna do is just make the shape right here, and this is just half of the shape because on the other side it's shining and it's a different color. So I'm just adding a little bit of the gray, and then I'm going to follow that shape on the other side using my filbert. And then it goes back to dark because the light's not hitting it. So I'll grab my dark and come in. And that's just a super simple one. And I'm going to just be doing that all over. So I'm just going to speed this up because you can see the process as I'm going through the process, and you've already gotten all the lessons on how to make different shapes of flowers. So really, it's just about watching and learning as you watch. I want you to have that available, so I'm going to speed it up. I'm not going to skip over it. Switching brushes also help to get some variety in there. So I'm switching to this brush. And remember, if you want a small tip, just a tiny little pressure, and then add some pressure to get it to be fatter. So now I'm just gonna add like this area of dark, and this is going to help make everything that's over it pop. So any places in your thing that are thick with dark, that's what you need to do. Then I'll add some darker areas over that. And that just makes it look like, oh, there's darker areas in there. So brilliant, I know. And the shapes of leaves. Then I have a little bit of fun being really random. Get some water off of my brush here. Just with some funky shapes. Just pull on your brush in different ways. That's all I'm doing. This is my system you're learning today. And I'm concentrating on being crazy right here and being full right through here. And when I do something I really like, then I try to pull it together and keep it. And then if I don't like something, I just sit there and I work on the shape of it until I like it. Now you've got some leaves in there, it's time for the florals. I'm gonna wash all my brushes. So I'm going to start with one that's like really not perfect at all. Right here, this pretty little daisy, maybe we could call it a daisy, or just a, I don't know, it doesn't even make sense, it doesn't matter. So I'm grabbing my white and just making some brush strokes. So there's a perfect example of not needing to have something perfect. Okay, so I have my filbert brush here. So I'm going to pull into an inner shape. Grabbing some white. Yep, so it's where you place the dark and the light on roses that really matter. Okay, so I've got a shape here, started a shape, so it's really easy now to just come in here and go in around the petals and stuff. So go around. See, like that. So I'm going to go to a more detail brush and just come in here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to make sure I have all the pretty colors that I want in here. And I can come over here and grab my pastels, and I can put gold in with my pastels, and it just kind of floats on top. These colors are really bright, and I've subdued my colors right here. So what I'm going to do to fix that is just come over here with some of the brighter colors and put them in on top. So I can look and see if I have the exact color of a pastel. If I don't, then I just come over here and I grab it, and I'll add it in certain areas. So I matched it. That's the color. Dink. Okay, so then I'm just going to come in here in some of these areas and add it in as a layer on top. And it brightens it at the same time it's adding dimension. And I literally will just add that in some areas. With the black, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in some of this area and really kind of shape it a little bit more. I could even have something sticking out here. I just have to remember that it's going to have some texture, and unless I don't want that texture, I have to kind of take it off or smooth it down or add it with a paintbrush, depending on what I want. So I'm kind of deciding as I go, like, what texture do I want, and do I want some elements to kind of be a little bit more crazy. And this is the time that I take away my reference photo. If you have a reference photo, take it away so you can kind of just have fun playing. So I kind of want it to go up a little bit more, be a little thicker through here. So I'm going to come in with just some black and maybe put a flower. I just really like to go from area to area, just kind of adding in the pastel in just certain spots that I find it necessary to add some texture. And I can always soften it, and then once I'm done, I just have to make sure that I spray it, which, I mean, you should spray probably every painting you have, and that just makes sure that it will stay where you want it to go. See, just the layers add so much more dimension, and that's what's really important in here. And then at some point you have to tell yourself you're done. That's the hard part too. Oh, it's so pretty though. I will just love it. I just love it. So this last step is always the finishing touches, and look at how pretty that is. So just keep working yours until you fall in love with it, and then you can sign your work, and then you're done. I hope you really had fun with this challenge and you learned a lot. We're going to do more of these challenges, and they're just going to help you be more creative and learn the skills necessary so that you can create whatever it is you want. I have a whole bunch of lessons for you to enjoy. They're in sequential order if you are a VIP member, and all of those are going to help you be able to do what it is that I do. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified whenever I make a new art lesson and tutorial. You don't want to miss out on those. Also, if you like weekly art lessons, the reference photos, real-time tutorials, go ahead and check out my Createful Art membership where you can get those. And you can watch more videos right here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!